It's fine. It's fine.
Welcome to Talk and Fight. Yet another fantastic episode lined up. We've got Jessica Camara all the way from Montreal in our studio as we speak, courtesy of the digital world. Joining me is our panel again. Mike, how you doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Christian, good to see you again. And Derek.
Oh.
Derek, I believe you're going to lead off the episode tonight, aren't you?
Yeah.
You got something to say about Anthony Joshua, one of my favorite fighters, but
yeah.
Oh, how did our Merseyside boy do last week?
Oh, not so good.
Never mind. Okay,
yeah. He didn't. He was really outclassed in that one. But anyways, that's a tale for another one. But
all right.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. I think he's probably retiring now. So he is.
All right.
It was his last big kick at the can, really.
Yeah.
And he kind of alluded at the end during the post fight that he was done. But anyhow, on to other stuff. We got a couple of big fights coming up this weekend. There's one, and then the following weekend there's two more that are kind of exciting. For this weekend, we've got the IBF and WBO title on the line. It's Joshua versus Pulev. So
That's an awesome fight coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So it's Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev. And then after that, the following weekend, we've got Golovkin and Sarameta for the IBF and middleweight, and then also Canelo and Callum Smith for the WBA. Callum Smith, another Liverpudlian. Yay. Let's root for him, Graham. Come on. And
against Canelo, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I know, right? But he's got the height, he's got the reach, so you never know. Never say never. But anyways, on to what's happening this weekend tomorrow. It's Anthony Joshua, Kubrat Pulev, and that's I believe it's a mandatory. It's a mandatory fight for Anthony Joshua. He has to fight Kubrat Pulev, so let's look at a little bit of who the fighters are and what we think our predictions are. So, as you know, Anthony Joshua had pretty much a perfect record up until was about a year a bit ago when he lost to Andy Ruiz, but he quickly regained. There was a secondary match, and he ended up regaining the titles back. But he currently has the IBF, WBO, WBA, and the IBO titles or belts.
He's unified.
He's unified, except for after this fight, this is going to set him up for the big fight with Tyson Fury, I think. If he gets through the Kubrat Pulev. But I don't know if he will or not. I think he will, because Kubrat Pulev, keep in mind, he's had 28 wins and one loss, and that was to Vladimir Klitschko. So they've both had one loss in their career, but the difference being is that Kubrat Pulev's only had one world title fight, and that was against the one Vladimir Klitschko, who he lost against. He's also slightly smaller, 6'4" versus 6'6", 80-inch reach versus 82-inch reach is very minor. But what's so exciting about the heavyweight division, and boxing at its best is so unpredictable. All it takes is you to get caught once, and that's it. But at the heavyweight division, those guys it's kind of like, and I don't know, maybe Jessica, after I get through my rant here, you can chime in on this, but it's like a sliding scale with heavyweights. It's not proportional. Those guys are so big, when they take a shot to the head or to the chin, it can be one shot and done, like one and done.
Sure.
And
it's one punch.
Yeah, it takes one punch and it changes the whole game. So you could have your game together, you could be having the best fight of your life, and all it takes is one, and that's it. And that happens in
change your whole day.
Exactly, and it happens in other weight classes and lower weight classes as well. But I think it's it's even more different in the heavyweight division, just because they possess so much power, and the human body can only take so much trauma, right?
I think that's what makes it so exciting to watch the heavyweights, is because you're just waiting for that one punch.
Exactly.
And you're waiting, and also you're expecting the underdog to come up and hit the top guy with a big punch, and
yeah,
when it happened with Andy when he fought Anthony Joshua, nobody was expecting that. And
no, exactly. It was, yeah, absolutely. And so, but I think that I still think that Joshua will probably take this just based on his speed, his like pure athleticism. I mean, he's unbelievable. And you know,
Joshua's got to bring his A game, man. Let's be real, because Pulov is not messing around, man. No. I watched the weigh-ins, and they had some very choice words for each other. Yeah. And Pulov's no joke either, man. He's not
because the thing is, he has more of a foundation in the amateurs, so he's got a really strong foundation. He's fought a lot more, so. And he's gone up against guys like Samuel Peter. Like, he's fought some big names. Like, he's not a slouch, and he's only, he's got one loss against them. He's good. He's good. So the thing is like, keep in mind, he's got a fighting chance, and he's older. I think he's like 39 now, 38, 39. So this is like, he's nearing like. He's getting to, I mean, times are different nowadays. You can go a little bit longer, but he's nearing like the twilight of his career. So, he's got something to prove. He really wants this, and it's harder to defend the title when you've got it than to, go against the guy where you're trying to get the title. So. I don't know. That's my opinion, anyways. But, anyways, I call it for AJ. Hopefully, we'll see how he does.
Well, you better bring his A game. That's for sure. If he doesn't, there's
because Pulev is tough as nails. If you watch the Vladimir Klitschko fight, I mean, he took a ton of punishment, and he kept getting back up and kept getting back up. So he's tough. I mean, but he can get knocked out. He doesn't have an iron chin. Like, he can get knocked out as.
Anybody can get knocked out. Let's be real.
Exactly. Most people can, but he can take a lot of punishment. Like that was clear. Anyways, that's it for me.
That was your rant?
That was my rant.
Well done.
Thanks.
That was a good rant. I like it.
That was a good rant. Yeah. Hey, Christian, you got anything for us tonight?
Yeah, you got some history for us there, Christian? Any good history lessons?
No history tonight. We were talking a little earlier in the week, and based on like the conversation we had with Sandy last week, and she mentioned how her training changed from when she went from amateur to pro and started focusing a little bit more on strength training. And so we had some questions, and some people I've been talking to, well, why does it matter whether it's amateur or pro? Why do you need to be stronger necessarily for pro? And so, like a lot of people, if they're out there, it turns out, if you're just following, the Tysons and Mayweathers of the world, you don't necessarily know what the difference is between amateur and professional boxing. So I thought we'd take a quick minute tonight and just go through 4 or 5 of the major differences that exist between the two different disciplines, kind of thing, to give you a better idea of why the training might change. And thrilled to hear later on, Jessica, if your thoughts on amateur versus pro. Mm-hmm. Okay, but so first thing here, we got sorry, Brian, go ahead.
And the millions that Jessica's made.
What?
And the millions of dollars you've made?
Yeah. My dream.
Okay, so jumping in, so we'll run through this quick. So I mean, the first thing you're going to notice, first thing that's going to be right in your face, is going to be the gear is going to be different. So, you've both got your boxing gloves, you've got your mouth guard, but in amateur boxing, you've also got a headgear, which is essentially a third glove wrapped around your head, nice and soft. It's meant to, it's there to protect,
it's more like the forehead, it's more like a nuisance. It's more like a nuisance that just annoys you.
But this is what it's here for, is to protect the eyes, forehead, cheekbones, ears, and that's, they're not foolproof. Knockouts very much do happen in amateur boxing.
Yes.
But they do help prevent most major head traumas, which is, in professional boxing, various head traumas are the most common injuries to get. So the headgear's a big one on that one there. Also, size of glove changes a little bit as well between professional and amateur. So also the size of the ring. So in amateur circuits, the size of the ring is very standardized. Rings have to be minimum size of 16 by 16, maximum 20 by 20. Whereas professionals, they usually fall within these parameters, but there's no actual standardization right across professional boxing that says the exact size a ring has to be, it turns out.
Does that include the pillow fight that we saw the other week?
That technically wasn't boxing. That was hard sparring.
Is that what they ended up calling that eventually?
That's the Tyson Jones. Yeah, that was hard sparring.
Because me, it looked like sawing logs.
Well, actually, and another way that one differs from an actual professional versus amateur fight would be the number of rounds in a bout. So the number of rounds in a professional bout are usually going to be longer than what you're going to get in amateur. Both are going to have kind of a standardized 3 minutes per round. Whereas professional fights could be anywhere from 4 rounds to a dozen rounds. It varies. Whereas if you're looking at like the Olympic model for amateur, you're looking at 3 3-minute rounds for male competitors and 4 2-minute rounds for female competitors. But the biggest difference, and it comes down to here, is really about how it's scored at the end of the day. So, I mean, certain concepts are the same. You get out there, hit your opponent, try not to get hit. That's just boxing. But the mentality behind it's very different because the scoring system is very different. In amateur boxing, a boxer wins by having the most legal punches. That's it. Okay, so a boxer can be losing, the majority of his or her rounds, and they come out and they really dominate on a single round at the end, and there's still you could still win the bout. The knuckle part of the and so in the amateur, the knuckle part of the glove is usually whited out, and the way to score points is you have to land shots on the front or side of the body or head above the belt, obviously.
That's why it makes it so boring.
Well, yeah, but it is what it is. But that's the only way. You don't get any extra. There's no extra points awarded for knockouts, for aggression, for making your opponent wobble or stumble. There's no extra points for any of that. It's straight down. It's a tally. It's whoever gets the most legal hits. That's it. You're done. Whereas when we flip it over to professional, it gets a bit weirder. So whereas you have 5 judges for amateur, you're down to 3 judges now in pro boxing. We're going to be deciding what constitutes a legal or a clean hit. Now they're going to be using a 10-point system to determine the winner of each round, and the fighter with the most points at the end of the bout that's your winner. So this means that if a boxer is dominating, say, the first 5 rounds of a 6-round bout, you can get to a point where it's almost mathematically impossible for the other fighter to win if you've only got 1 round left. And, obviously you're still going to go out there, but it gets to a point where it becomes almost mathematically impossible in professional fighting. Hopefully not. I mean, I'll hope to see better fights than that. You're also scored in professional boxing lost my spot there. Unlike amateur boxing, it's not just about landing clean hits at the end of the day. You're also scored using 4 criteria, and this is based on the judge's own opinion. So those criteria are defense, which is pretty straightforward, obviously. Do your best to avoid getting hit by your opponent, ducking, weaving, bobbing, and how effectively you're doing that. Second, the criteria is effective aggression. So now this is how active the boxer is during the bout. Are they the one, making the first move? Are they constantly on the back foot? What are they doing, right? Clean and hard punching. So this simply means, blows cleanly landed. Again, in opposition to amateur, you do get bonus points for knocking your opponent down, for making them stagger or wobble, or just landing exceptionally hard punches. And finally, this is a bit of a weird one, the last one here. It's a ring generalship. Now, this has to do with which fighter takes control of the ring and kind of sets the tempo for the entire fight. Now, like on the surface, that might sound a little bit like effective aggression, but you got to remember that, the aggressor doesn't necessarily dictate the tempo of the fight. So, kind of being in part, at least, opinion-based, professional boxing scores could be kind of subjective. So there might be a difference of opinion between judges as to who was throwing cleaner shots. There might be, difference of who was setting the tempo for most of the fight. Whereas it's a little bit more easy to judge, and it's a little bit that you don't have the same kind of conflict usually in amateur, because when you're really just a simple tally system. That's my 2 cents on major differences between amateur and professional.
Jessica, what are some of these?
Bird's eye view. Hazard a guess. Say that was more than a minute. But
Yeah, right.
I got into that. Yeah, I got into that.
He knows his stuff.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Jessica, what are some of the differences that you faced? What were some of the challenges that you faced between your amateur and your pro career?
Well, when I was amateur, I was always told I had a professional style because, you know, like in the amateurs, it is a pointing system. You know, it's like hit and don't get hit. You want to be able to score as many points as possible within the 4 rounds that you have. Whereas now, you know, you have to win each round. And you're scored upon your aggressiveness, your power. You know, I was always a hard puncher in the amateurs, but that didn't really mean much in the amateurs. You weren't scored on that. So I feel like it's more beneficial for me in the pros. You know, my style that was made more for the professional.
You're built more for the professional series.
Yeah,
built what it is, right? You're built for it. You're built for it. Power puncher.
Yeah, I like to be the aggressive. I can also be a boxer if I need to, but I like to be the aggressive fighter. You know, pressing the pace, and you know, hitting you to the body, hitting you to the head. That's what I like to do.
That's awesome.
Amateur, it's all about points, right?
Right. So, do you find you get a lot of support from your parents as you went pro?
No.
No, really. They wanted you to.
The funny thing is I, as a child, I was never allowed to play sports. I come from a very old school European family, so as a female, I wasn't allowed to play sports. They said, you know, that's for boys. You know, I always wanted to play soccer growing up, and was never allowed to. And when I was old enough to make the decision, I decided when I was 19, actually when I started to box. And I bring it up to my parents now, and I say, you know, my cousins, when they were my age, they were playing soccer, and they're like, yeah, but look at them now. They're not playing soccer professionally, and you are.
You're welcome. So were you already training in a professional kind of style then? When you were boxing amateur, was your training still geared towards a professional style?
Yeah, my training was like, I had all this aggression in me. So when I trained, I was just like, let it all out, you know, right from the beginning of the first round. And as I started to go on, I started to learn the technique, and my boxing skills improved. But I felt like I always fought like a professional fighter, like this professional style fighter.
Absolutely. You know, that's interesting. So going back to Anthony Joshua, so he started late in life too. Like he started, I think, when he was 18 years old. And you're very similar to that. You started at 19, you said. 19, so the thing is like with him, I think everyone's saying, and you can see it, is that he's still improving as he goes because he's catching up a little bit, right? So is it the same for you? You find like you're still continually improving and refining your style? And
yeah. If I look at video and fights from like a year or 2 years ago, it's like I see a big improvement. And I feel like I'm always learning.
Do you always watch your fights afterwards? Do you record them and always watch them like after fights?
Well, I don't record them, but there's usually video of them. And
right.
Yeah, I do watch them, and you know, I see the things that I've been working on in the gym and how I've improved a lot since I've had those fights. And that's the goal, right? You know, you see the fight afterwards, and I always see things that I can improve on, and I go in the gym and I work on those things, and I become a better fighter.
Right. So you've had what, 9 professional bouts now, right?
Yeah.
And you're 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still get nervous?
I get nervous, but it's all about controlling those nerves.
Right.
Right. So I find I'm getting better at that, controlling the more calm I am, the better performance I have.
Right.
But if I'm nervous, it's my legs give out. The more nervous I am, my legs just they start shaking. Yeah.
So what do you do to beat the nerves before a bout then?
It's mental. It's all mental. I just try and relax.
Is the music you're listening to, is it?
Yeah, I listen to music. I listen to some motivational videos. I like to write just about my feelings, just to clear it all out. And
kind of like center yourself, eh? Just center yourself ready just before the fight.
I don't really talk to anybody. Like, I'm not on my phone before the day of my fight, and I just get my mind right and focused and focus on what I need to do. I make sure I'm confident going in there. That I always make sure that I leave it all in the training camp. I did a hard training camp, and I'm feeling confident with myself, and I just listen to whatever my coach has to tell me.
Right.
And, yeah, I just go in there at ease, and I don't think too much, right? That's the whole thing. Like, sometimes you think about everything you have to do, and that just it stresses you out. So I just go in there calmly, and I listen to what my coach has to tell me, and I go out there and perform.
So what's a typical fight day look like for you then? You know, like you say, you're not on the phone, or do you work out before a fight? So do you get a light workout in? Do you take it easy? Do you sleep in? I mean, we've heard mixed reactions on like different fighters, different opinions on how to approach that fight day.
I sleep in, I have breakfast. Usually, actually, what my coach and I do is we go and walk. We just go out and walk, and we talk.
Light cardio.
Man, that sounds like hard cardio for me.
We'll get you there, Mikey.
Yeah, eventually. I was there once, and then I got married, and that's what happened.
Well, that's true. I was there. I saw the whole thing.
So, how many days do you take off of the gym before you get into the ring? Like, if you're training hard in the camp, say your camp's like anywhere from say 3 to 6 months, do you take a week off before you get back in the ring?
Well, the week of the fight is usually pretty light.
Right.
But first of all, you got to make sure my weight's fine. So that's the major part. But the week of the fight is just to stay loose, right? So I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not sparring the week of the fight. It's mostly shadow boxing, maybe do some mitt work just to stay sharp.
Right.
But it's mainly about recovery the week of the fight. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know, man, but sometimes, you guys get in the ring and you're not 100% when you're about to fight, Sometimes you get those injuries in camp, and sometimes
you're trying to make weight.
Yeah, even trying to make weight. It can be really draining mentally, I guess. So
in the pros, I've never had to cut major. I've always been like pretty much on weight. The day of the weigh-ins, I may have to do like a 10-minute bath just to lose a little bit of water weight, but I never really had to cut a lot of weight, so I never had that issue.
That's good.
More in the amateurs, like being in tournaments where you have to keep the weight off for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That can be stressful.
Yeah.
You're really gonna watch what you eat those days.
Yeah.
What? So what are your next moves? What's the next fight coming up? Who are you gonna fight?
I don't know who I'm gonna fight. Right now.
Who do you want to fight? Who do you want to fight?
I want the top girls. I want the titles.
You want titles, yeah.
Well, my last fight was for a championship fight. It was for the NABO lightweight title, which I lost to against Melissa St. Phil. But I feel like I'm at that level, and things are at right now. I feel like I need to take that risk and just jump in there and
You should. I've watched a bunch of your fights, and you are at that level. You should be fighting. You should be fighting top contenders, man. You should be wearing some gold around that waist of yours.
Absolutely. So I saw that St. Phil fight, and okay. So I have a couple of questions. So I think it was the first round, you took like a head trauma over the left eye. Like, it was ridiculous. It was out to there. But so the first question is, was it a hit or was it an accidental headbutt? And then the second, and it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured so much. And then the second one was, I was so impressed with you. Like, that was in the first round, and you went the whole way. You went the entire distance for that entire fight. I think it was a 10-rounder. Was it 10 rounds?
Yeah, it was 10 rounds.
10 rounds. You went 10 rounds with that. And you could see she was clearly targeting that, of course, right? She's like smelt the blood and she was going after it, right? But you like, it just it showed like so much heart and true grit. But like, how does that affect you mentally when something like that happens in the first round? Or is it just like your adrenaline's going, you just ignore it completely? Or do you know it's there? Are you cognizant of it and it kind of shakes you? Like
a little bit of both. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was there, and mainly when she was coming on the inside, she comes in with her head a lot. And
Yeah.
I feel like she was coming to the body, she was leaning with her head.
Mhm.
And she's moving her head around, and I felt like it was going to hit my head. So there was moments where she was on the inside, and I wasn't fighting on the inside, and I was just trying to grab her because I was cautious of my head.
Yeah.
And in those moments, I wasn't fighting a good fight
Mhm.
because I was cautious of that. But overall, I didn't let that slow me down.
No.
Like my main.
In fact, you were the aggressor. I could see.
Yeah.
Like you were pushing her back.
Yeah. I could have. Definitely could have cut the ring off better in that fight, and that's what I've been working on now in the gym, because she was just moving too much where I could have trapped her against the ropes. But yeah, I just had this adrenaline rush, and I honestly didn't know how bad it was.
It was bad.
Well, that's the benefit of perspective at the end of the day we watching the fight can see you in the fight. You just know something's going on here, but you can't see what we can see,
I can see, when I look down to the crowd and they're looking at me like,
whoa.
I could see there's definitely something wrong, but I feel something was there, but I didn't know how bad it was, and I really wasn't focused on that. I was just focused on putting on a good performance and walking away with that title,
executing the game plan, executing that game plan, and getting that title, right?
Yeah, but before that fight, I had only ever fought a 6-rounder, and I went from a 6-rounder to a 10-rounder, and I felt great doing this 10 rounds because I felt like I was able to put things together and slow down the fight, because I was so used to fighting 4 rounds, 6 rounds, where you have to pick up the pace because you don't have too many rounds pace, right? Whereas 10 rounds, you can slow down the pace and set up your attacks,
and that's where you capitalize when you make them play your game.
Yeah. So I felt great doing 10 rounds, and I feel like I need to be fighting in that caliber, fighting for championships and fighting the top girls. And I feel like my time is coming soon.
I think
it is. Oh yeah.
I think it is too. And honestly, good luck. Yeah. I honestly think we'll see some gold around your waist soon enough.
Yeah.
Is that Jessica why you're in Montreal? There's better opportunity in Montreal than there is staying in Ontario?
That's pretty much why I came. I just seen that for women's boxing in Ontario, I just wasn't seeing enough action for them. So, and when I looked at Montreal, and I seen Mariev was up and coming, and you just see a lot more fights happening here and more publicity. So I felt like that was a good plan for me to come down here and make my turn pro in Montreal. That's what I did. I moved down to Montreal, basically didn't have a trainer or a gym to train at, and I was just like, I'm gonna try it out in different gyms. And
what gym are you currently at now?
Donnybrook Boxing Gym. I'm training Ian Phillip.
Okay.
Good French name.
Yeah, very, very. Now's the time to push it. Promo.
Le Donnybrook.
It's actually very English gym. Nobody speaks French in there.
That's good. At least you can understand what they're saying. How is the boxing world with this pandemic going on right now in Montreal? Like Montreal, I know they've been hit pretty hard with this. So I guess training right now for you is probably not much.
Well, we're in red zone. Everything's closed pretty much. Like gyms are closed, restaurants are closed. We're limited on what we can do, but we can have one-on-ones in the boxing gym because they're considered like studio. So in studios, we have like one-on-one. So I'm able to go in there and train, and I do network with my coach. I'm actually lucky because my wife is a boxer. Actually,
yeah.
Mine.
That's unfair.
So we're able to spar and train together. So
excellent.
we're lucky in that sense. But I've been training the whole time during the whole pandemic. I've been training. It's different because you don't have the same environment in the gym where everyone's training and sparring. You don't have the same motivation, but I still get it in.
That's good.
I make sure I'm in shape. So if I were to get a call, I can kick it into gear.
Right.
That's good.
So you would be ready in what, like 3 to 6 weeks? You'd be ready to step in the ring if you got the call?
Yeah. We actually had got a call that the fight didn't happen, but we basically had 4 weeks for a very big fight, and we kicked it into gear. It didn't end up happening, but we are training a little more seriously now because we feel like the time is coming.
Right.
The clock's ticking. You can just feel the energy, and hopefully 2021 is a little better.
It's going to be your year.
Yes. I had said 2020 was going to be my year, but obviously it wasn't anybody's year.
No. That's for sure.
So, yeah, just staying ready for whenever we get the phone call.
So you're currently fighting, you're light welterweight, I guess? Are you lightweight welterweight?
No, I went.
Or are you up now?
Welterweight.
Yeah.
So when I started, I was at welterweight.
Okay.
And then I was at super lightweight, 140.
Okay.
My last fight was at lightweight, 135. But I want to try and fight at 130 actually.
So you answered my question before I even asked it, which is great. I was just wondering if you would move up or down. To you want to go down.
It's funny because in amateurs, I was fighting at 152 at 69 kilo.
Okay.
Gone down a lot. And everyone was saying, you're like a 135, 130 pound fighter. And I was like, are you crazy? Because I was walking around at 165 in the amateurs.
Yeah.
How much better do you feel, though, fighting at that weight now?
A lot better.
A lot better, right?
Where in the amateurs, I just loved hitting hard. I wanted to hit hard, be explosive, and whereas now I'm able to put combinations together and move a lot more, and I'm more explosive. And
a lot more speed now.
Cardio, yeah. I'm lighter on my feet, have more speed.
Did it affect your power at all?
A little bit, but with the speed, I feel like my punches are coming.
Speed comes power.
Yeah,
speed comes power.
I'm able to put together more combinations that are more effective than that one punch power.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So from amateur to professional, did you face any discrimination in the gym at all? You find being a woman, being in Ontario, being in Montreal, any sort of discrimination you found from training partners, coaches, gyms, or were you welcomed with open arms?
In the gyms, yeah. I feel like in the boxing gym, everyone's pretty welcome, and that's what I feel like. Boxing gym is it's like a family. I feel like everyone's welcome. No one really discriminates anybody. I haven't experienced that in any gym that I've been at. I've been in a few boxing gyms, and yeah, it just feels like they're welcoming to everybody. It doesn't matter, what walk of life you walk in or who you are. Everyone's in there for a reason, and everyone wants to improve. Even if you're not a fighter, professional fighter, amateur fighter, some people are just in there to, stay fit. And I feel like it's a family.
That's
I love
awesome.
being in the boxing gym. Yeah.
That's awesome. What would if you could suggest anything for these amateur girls that are up and coming, what would you tell them? What would be good advice that you could give them for these young amateurs that are up and coming, who've gone through all the things that you've gone through?
Just to not be discouraged and, just keep working through it. And I mean, I faced a lot of obstacles through my amateur career, and, life happens and stuff happens, but I felt being in the boxing gym and, just staying focused and staying committed to my goals just helped me reach to where I am now. there were some tournaments that I had where I was going through a lot of personal stuff, and I could have backed out, and I just stayed strong and, you know, committed to my goals, and just, you know, pushing through that and, you know, achieving those goals made me stronger, and it makes you proud, you know, and you just grow from that, and you know, start rising and achieving more goals, and, you know, and then next thing you know, you're a world champion, and that's pretty much
it. That's it.
So is that sort of the roadmap to get to that, like WBC, WBA, all the big titles, right? Like all the big belts. Is it just like getting people under your belt? No pun intended, but like just you know, what's the roadmap to it? What does it normally look like?
Well, I mean, you have to win fights, and you have to be ranked, right?
Yeah.
But I feel if you're able to be in there with top fighters and be able to put on a good performance, you know, just my last fight with Melissa St. Phil, I knew I was meant to be there. Okay, like I was meant to be in this caliber. Yeah. I feel like, you know, that's what it takes is, you know, stepping up and getting in there with top experienced fighters and saying like, I'm here, you know, like you're able to see that fighter is able to be in there with the top girls and put on a good performance, you know, not just go in there and be a boxing bag and get hit, right?
Yeah.
A lot of fighters, you know, step in and they're not being competitive. They're just taking a beating. Or, you know, and those girls need to step out and, you know,
reassess their entire situation.
Exactly.
Go back to the drawing board.
I feel like
as we're going live, Jessica, we've got a couple of comments coming in from our viewership. Do you mind answering them? They're pretty spontaneous. And question for Jessica: I see you've suffered from opponents withdrawing bouts at the 11th hour. Can you talk about your experience of this? It must be extremely difficult to prepare, then be left at the altar or weigh in, as the case may be.
Fights backing out? Is that?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that happens. I just recently got a call about a fight. I got offered a fight, and I had 4 weeks. It was actually for a championship fight. I'm not going to say what it was because it's not happening, but, you know, I was training for 2 weeks. Didn't hear anything back, so it's not happening, right? But that stuff happens all the time, and, you know, it's discouraging, but you just gotta keep moving and keep rolling with the punches. And
just another obstacle in the way.
Exactly. You just gotta be patient and just know that your time is coming. And, you know, even though, you know, you've been putting in the work in the gym, but you can still take what you've learned for when the next time comes, when you're supposed to be in the ring.
So here's an abute of a follow-up question. What two female fighters would you like to see on the next card at the Tyson Legends?
Oh, like on the other card of a Tyson?
Yeah. So because we got a lot of comments about Tyson leaving, basically, females off to the side. There was no females on the card, and not even referees or
there was nothing females at all.
Yeah. I found that kind of surprising, really, with the way female boxing is going today and the way these women are. Like,
and you have Nate Robinson against a YouTuber.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Right.
And now his brother.
Now his brother's fighting Mayweather.
Yeah. That's stupid. That's going to be a dumb fight, man.
Ridiculous.
Every circus needs a sideshow.
Hey, and you know what? Those sideshows are guaranteed to sell at least, 5 million subscriptions to that fight because of their following, man. So actually, it's
the business.
Yeah,
it's the business.
Yeah. You're sidebarring the question from the viewer.
Yeah, but who I would like to see fight? I was really, really excited about seeing Katie Taylor and Samantha.
Yes.
I hope that happens, and I think that's one fight. Like, I'm definitely hoping that it does happen. I feel like it's
who do you think's gonna win that one?
I'd like to see Amanda win.
Okay.
I'd like to see the underdog win.
Yeah. Okay. You want to root for the underdog? I get it.
Katie Taylor is a great. I mean, she's incredible.
She's phenomenal.
I have a lot of respect for Katie Taylor, but I'm a big fan of Amanda Serrano, and I just like to see what she's capable of. Up against Katie Taylor. I feel like they both are going to bring the best out of each other.
Okay, they're both geared up to bring the best out of each other. That's awesome. I would love to see. I'd love to see the fight too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like to see how Amanda Serrano will fight against Katie Taylor at that caliber. She's fought a lot of good competition, but I don't think she's fought
somebody of that caliber yet.
Yeah, at that caliber.
Is there anyone out there right now that you wouldn't want to step into the ring with?
Well, no. I'll step in the ring.
That's the right answer. Good. That's the right
answer. That was a perfect answer right there.
What are your thoughts on Claressa Shields drifting over to the MMA?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, it has to do with money. I don't know too much about I believe who she signed with. It's a tournament, no?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's a tournament. I think it's like the IAF or LAF or something like that. It's some new.
From what I heard, it's a tournament, and the winner gets $1 million. And I mean, from there, who knows where that can lead?
Right.
I feel like she's taking that step to get more publicity and more money. Really.
Have you ever been tempted yourself to switch disciplines?
Not really. I've never been really interested in learning MMA. It just never really intrigues me to learn. Maybe once I retire from boxing, I will learn that for fun, but I don't see myself transitioning over to MMA.
So your retirement plan is MMA. That's what I'm hearing right now. When I retire from boxing, I'll take up MMA.
I wouldn't want to commit my time to learning MMA when I could be learning.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah. So what are you gonna do when you retire? Oh, I'm gonna take up MMA. Most people take up golf or like knitting. You want to take up kicking people.
But if you're learning jiu-jitsu and you're like, there's a lot to MMA, right?
Oh, yeah. Very much so.
And I feel like there's still a lot to learn that I want to learn in boxing. And there's a lot that I can improve on. So I just want to take spend my time.
When you're ready to hang up the gloves, do you think you would ever take on a pupil and decide to coach or train young females and guide them along the path that you took?
Yes, actually. I can never see myself not being involved in boxing. I just feel like it's part of my life. Right. I do some coaching now. I love training kids. I would love to have an actual youth classes and train people. Yeah, train fighters, up and coming fighters. Sorry. Starting them right from the beginning, working their way up to the top. I also have a love for photography. I love being in the gym, taking pictures, and I feel like that's something I might want to do also.
Yeah, it's good.
But just being involved in the boxing,
just in that community in general, that family oriented community that you love so much.
So something you'll keep doing even after you're not boxing yourself anymore.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always going to want to be involved in the boxing world, being in the boxing gym. I feel like I'm never going to stop training, to be honest with you. I feel like it's just a part of me. It's part of my lifestyle.
Well, it's been a part of your life for so long that it would be hard to.
Yeah.
It's hard to give it up, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. One of the common themes that comes out of a lot of Neil's episodes when he talks about fighters across the history of boxing. One of the common themes is upon their retirement, how heavily they're involved in the community and how heavily they're involved in giving back. Next week, for example, we have Scotty Olson on the show, and he's coaching the coaches right now. So, I mean, it says a lot when you move from a boxer to a coach to being a coach of the coaches. And it says a lot about your passion for the sport and how you believe that it must be properly fought with integrity, not only in the ring, but as an industry as well. I certainly know that, Yvette Raposo. Mm-hmm. She was saying, there's a lot of inequality in the sport right now between the men and the women in terms of focus and attention and money. But there's an example. You yourself see yourself being in the sport for a very long time, whether in the ring or outside of the ring. And it's gratifying to hear that you're that focused and you're that committed, especially to the young people. Not that you're not young. I'm just saying.
Well, I feel like boxing, it saved my life, and I feel like that it could do the same for others that are struggling. And I see that with a lot of kids coming in, young kids like 7, 8, 9 years old, and they come in really, really shy, and they're just so focused on learning, and they just get better from, each day they come in the gym, they just keep getting better and better.
I find that it's a huge confidence boost, and it's
and you just feel like their characters.
It breaks them out of their shell, and it turns them into these kids that I don't think they could be on their own without that atmosphere. Like I trained many years in boxing and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and I've trained a lot of people too, and I've trained a lot of kids, and that's one thing that I enjoyed was watching the confidence that it could actually give these kids. It's incredible.
It's life-changing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'm curious about that comment about it saved your life. What do you mean?
Okay, so let's get into that. Okay, so when I was younger, I was really, really close to my godmother. So my godmother is my dad's sister, and we had a really, really close relationship. She's basically like we had like a mother-daughter relationship. I spent a lot of time with her. I wasn't really close with my mother. We always butted heads. We never really had much of a close relationship. Now it's a lot different. I'm grown. We're able to communicate a lot different. But back then, I was really close to her, and I had a lot of issues at home with my parents, and I was always running to her whenever I had problems. And she actually died of cancer when I was 17. And because of that, I just was angry. I got really angry all the time, and I was getting into fights in school. I actually got charged as a youth when I was 17, and I got expelled from school because of that. So I had a lot of anger issues. When that happened, when I got expelled from school and I got charged, it was kind of an awakening for me, where I was on my own, and I had to pick myself up and put my life together. I was young. I felt like I was on my own because I always ran to my godmother when I have never had issues, and then I could never really talk to my parents about anything. So I just started really getting in my head and just focusing on my life and picking pieces up, putting the puzzle together. And I just looked for motivation. I actually was really, really inspired by the movie $1 Million Baby.
Great movie.
Yeah. So I was always really, really intrigued by boxing, but it's never something that I was really introduced to. But I really wanted to start training. So I started actually going out and running, which I was horrible at. And I would go out to a track that was close to my house. And the first time I went out there, I couldn't even finish a lap without stopping. I was in horrible shape. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go out every day, and I'm just going to run a little bit more. That's what I did. I just did a little more. And then I was running, miles after miles. And I worked on myself to get back into high school, graduated high school, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to apply for police foundations. Because I was picking myself up, I felt like I would be good in a role where I was helping other people. So I thought, police foundations would be great because, there's the fitness aspect of it, and I'll be able to help people. So it was actually when I got into that program in police foundations at Conestoga College. I met somebody there that was a boxer, and she introduced me to actually Sid Vanderpool's gym in Kitchener, and that's where I started. I just went there and I did like a fitness boxing class, and I just fell in love with it. It was just like I went in there and all my aggression just poured out, and I felt great leaving there, and I just fell in love with the sport, just learning the technique, and I just went there every day, and I just wanted to improve. I felt like I was improving each time I went in, and that's basically how it changed my life. I would go in there, and I felt like I was a better person every time I walked into the gym.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I'm glad you found boxing, and I'm glad boxing found you. Yeah. I think it worked out really well.
Thank you.
Luck and timing.
That's it, man. That's all it's about is luck and timing. Just like, that one lucky punch that'll get everybody. It's all about luck and timing, man. And, obviously, big knockout power. Right, Jessica?
Yeah, I don't have any knockouts.
Not yet.
But
they're coming.
I feel like with when you have more rounds, it's it can happen a lot easier than when you're fighting 4 rounds. When you're fighting 4 rounds for 2 minutes, it goes by very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this: what do you think about boxers maybe putting on 4-ounce gloves? Maybe we'll see more knockouts that way.
Always with the 4-ounce gloves, Mike.
You know it, buddy. You know it, man. I'm trying to make boxing exciting, man. Let's put 4-ounce gloves on these people and get them knocking each other out.
I think.
Let's get them knocking each other out with 4-ounce gloves.
What was Jessica's reply?
Oh, I don't know. I might have cut her off.
What do I think about 4-ounce gloves?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think that you see a lot more hand injuries.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it definitely would help the knockout stream.
See, another one on board. Another one on board with you. I love it.
In my first, in my pro debut, actually, I broke my hand in the first round.
Ooh.
Wow. I believe I punched my opponent in the top of the head. Ooh. And my hand broke.
Oh my God, that hurts.
I actually had surgery on it, and so right when you say, what do you think about fighting in 4-ounce gloves? I just think about that one time where I broke my hand.
But you did win that bet, though, so that's it still goes in the win column.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right on. Listen, I see that we're broaching that hour-long mark. So
wow, it goes by so quick, man.
I know. I'm being told. I'm being told by my producer we should wrap it up. So
all right.
Any last comments there, Christian?
No, just echoing what Derek started with earlier, and looking forward to some fights as usual. Now that we do this, we have an excuse to, I have to. This is for the show. I have to be here on the couch with the fight on right now. Otherwise, I'm going to look like a fool on Friday.
Of course.
So a great personal sacrifice. I have fights to watch.
Right.
That's amazing.
Derek?
Yeah, so just an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and thanks for taking the time. And I'm really looking forward to following your pro career. I think you got a really bright future ahead of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I look forward to speaking to you guys again.
Oh,
Sounds
definitely. Definitely.
Happy to have you back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jessica. You share the gold with us.
Yeah, we can't wait. We'll have to have you on as soon as you got that gold.
Yeah.
Definitely. Sure. Which I see it's in your future. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Right on.
All the best of luck. Thank you again for coming on and talking with us. We had a blast. And hopefully you can come back again.
Yes, definitely.
And you yourself, Jessica, any last comments before we round out this conversation?
No, just I'm grateful to be a part of the show, and I had a blast speaking to you guys, and I hope to be back soon.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Well, thanks very much, guys, and thanks very much, Jessica. It's much appreciated. Great show. And thanks for the viewership out there for watching us, and please subscribe to our channel, like us, and share us as usual.
Yeah,
and
jab that like button.
Knuckle up.
Knuckle up, baby. Knuckle up.
That's right. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Greg.
All right, guys.
Thank you.